Cleaning Nation, Mike Campion here with Jackson Jack Pinky Pinkowski. That's right. I give you all four names today. Jackson. We call him Jackson, and I was horrified to learn friends and family call him Jack. And I'm like, well, that's not who he is. It's Jackson. Look at the man. So for all of you on YouTube, or I guess listening, you can decide by his voice and or face if he's a Jack or Jackson. Send us lots of emails. We'll sort it out. Anyway, Jack/Jackson/Pinky/Pinkowski is our marketing guy. And today we are going to, and when I say marketing guy, he does all of our clients that need marketing help go through Jackson. So he's, I would say, an expert in marketing in our very, very specific cleaning industry because he's just done a lot of it. Okay, that said, the specific thing we're talking about today kind of comes from something we're starting to do for our clients that is just kicking butt. And we're like, hey, we want to share it with the world, even if you're not a client. So we've started offering online appointment setters just for our clients. Not a big deal, but just so you know why we're talking about it. So we are actually setting appointments for our clients, and it has been crushing. And since there's, hundreds of thousands of you guys that listen, and we can only take a couple dozen clients a month, we want to make sure that you guys are getting some value. So Jackson, if you don't mind, let's start with an overview of like what online appointment setting is, how it would work, like what we're even talking about. And then we can kind of give some value for owners that are like, well, I'm not a client, but I still want to get some of the cool stuff you're talking about. How do I make it happen in my world? So let's start with the concept and work our way down.
Yeah. So essentially the concept, the online appointment setter is responsible for setting appointments online. And it's not really fair. You go, whoa, you can't use the name in the definition, but really, they live inside our people's social media platforms, their Facebooks, their Instagrams, and they handle the messages that end up coming through, outreach, people interested in services, any direct messages, things of that nature, and they handle that and actually set appointments with those people if they're qualified for your perfect prospect.
So let me jump in because you're saying something important, and I don't want to forget this. It's silly, obviously. We're like, well, an online appointment setter sets appointments online, but let me tell you what they don't do, because very few, if any of you guys, have an online appointment setter. And some of you are going, oh no, I got that, but you don't. What you have is a company that does quote unquote social media. And what they do is they take before and after pictures, or they'll post this or that, but they do not set appointments. So I really want to be clear. Step one, identify the goal, right? A lot of us are like, I was told I'm supposed to be on Instagram, or I got to post on Facebook. So I'm going to go find a person that and they'll post twice a day or whatever, frequency you tell them for $500 or $1,000 a month. So what, who cares, right? Like, is there a little bit of value or some value for someone to go to your Instagram page and find someone's posted something at some point in the last week or two? Yeah, it's not nothing. Like, you want that, but you don't have to have an Instagram page. I think if someone went to your Instagram page and it didn't exist, they wouldn't be like, this son of a gun, this isn't a scam. Like, they would just probably move on, right? So you need something out there, but a website, whatever. So what we're not saying is online content posting or a social media managers. That's why we're making fun of ourselves for our online appointment center. I'm like, yeah, it is not a social media manager. You do not need someone doing less than several million a year to be your online social media manager, even a whatever. What you do need is some goddamn appointments. So I just want to make that clear statement. This is not someone to post content. This is someone to set goddamn appointments. So now that I've ranted, that's my thought. From your perspective, Jackson, what's the difference? So people can be like, okay, how do I get the good one, not the not good one?
Yeah. The social people who are quote unquote social media managers, their operation and their goals aren't the biggest difference. Their goals are the biggest difference between an online appointment setter and a social media manager, quote unquote, somebody who posts content, right? That online appointment setter, their main goal is getting those appointments and getting you customers. So that's their modus operandi. That's what they're shooting for. That's what at the end of the day, if they had a successful day, is if they set a bunch of appointments. Versus on the other hand, a social media manager, their successful day is, hey, I got content posted. Did it get appointments? Maybe. Did it not get appointments? I don't know. I don't care. But that online appointment setter, they're living and breathing to get those customers into you, to get walkthroughs booked, 15-minute calls booked, whatever that goal is. But they're built and trained and designed. They understand sales. They understand how to connect with people, um, and actually get them to book versus just making a fancy picture or something like that.
So well said. And just for any of you guys hiring anyone to do any sort of marketing for you, a quick and easy litmus test I like is how did they reach out to me? So nothing, my least favorite is guys are like, I'm a meta ad expert. Well, how did I hear about you? Well, you emailed me. Maybe you should be an email expert. Like, for us, we set a bunch of appointments. Our appointment setter probably sets, I don't know, 40 appointments a month for us internally. So we're like, we should do this externally, right? And it's nice for our clients when people are like, that won't work. It's like, how did you get here? Well, I went on Instagram and someone reached out. I'm like, oh, okay. Shockers. It does work, doesn't it? So not a huge deal, but anytime you're looking for any marketer, it doesn't have to be, but it's nice to me when the guy or gal or team marketing to me to get me clients got me the way that they say that they're going to get someone else. I'm like, well, hard for me to say it's not going to work. So I get nervous when social media managers like, how many clients have you gotten from your social media channels? Right. And they're like, well, we don't really track that. I'm like, really? Like maybe you should. Or they got, 1,200 followers or even 1 million followers, but then I'm getting clients off them. So I know I'm hammering that hard, but it's such a big deal. The difference between a social media manager, anyone can say that. Everyone's a coach. Everyone's a mindset coach. Everyone's a social media manager. Everyone's a Facebook expert. And who's to say they are or aren't, right? The difference is the results that their clients get. Okay, enough ranting on that. So now that we know that we want an online appointment setter, not just a content creator, what do these guys and gals do to be successful?
The online appointment setter or the customer hiring the online appointment setter?
Wait, the customer hire. Oh, the both. Let's talk about, what all of it looks. You pick your poison.
Yeah. So the online appointment setter to be successful, I mean, oh yeah, I don't know where my brain was going with this. Really, I mean, obviously you have to have some volume coming in, for them to actually engage with people, right? But what's really important, at least what we've discovered, is giving the online appointment center the tools and resources to actually, have communication with people that reach out or that they reach out to, right? If you don't have what your prospects defined as, if you don't know how you want to actually talk to people or sell people or book people, then your online appointment setter is not going to know how to do it either, right? Because they're acting as you, they're serving as an extension of you. And for them to be successful in that role, they know how to do the outreach. They know how to get in touch with people. They know the best practices for follow-up and things like that. But they need to translate your values, your process through to that customer as well. So if you don't teach them that, or if you don't work with them on that, it won't be successful for there. Yeah, I guess that's probably the most important thing I'm seeing right now, at least with the online appointment center.
So let me give you the big chunks I see, and then you can kind of fill in the blanks for each of those chunks. So step one, again, either you don't have this in your company or you hire someone to do it. And that could be, I don't know how many companies do that. If there's a company that's great at it, we do that. So I guess I wouldn't recommend someone else, but I guess you could hire a company, but that's probably a little harder to do. You could do it yourself, or you could hire a human or part of a human. Or the whole human part of the time, I guess I should say. So just to be clear, it's like, well, you could do this, and it's not necessarily a 40-hour week job, right? Could be if you have enough traffic, and we'll talk about that in a second. But it's really a 2-minute job every hour or so, right? You want to kind of like just be on top of conversations, which could be annoying. And maybe you like that and you like being online and that works for you. But for most of you, it might be something, I think the best way to go about it would be to do it for a minute, like do it for a month when you're kind of slow, get the systems and processes down, and then like hire a human or a human part-time or someone like that. Okay. So the step one is just the systems. Step two, let's break, what are those systems? Let's talk about that. Cool. Well, Jackson made a good thing. You could have some sort of volume or some sort of flow. So we need a traffic source, right? So I'll let Jackson talk about that. Two would be we need a conversation flow, right? So it's not just like every conversation is completely uniquely different. Like once you've done this for 2 or 3 or 4 weeks, you'll start noticing they all kind of go the same way. Like there's only 5 or 10 or 15 questions they ask, and then it's pretty easy. And then, within that flow would be qualifier, disqualifier. Like, oh, I just want a one-time clean. That's not for me. Or I want to clean in this area. That's not for me. Or I want a commercial or residential, so you'll kind of have the like 3 or 4 outcomes. Like, here's some free resources. Let's get on an appointment. I'll follow up with you later. You're just not a fit. Like you'll start putting them in pretty easy buckets, and you'll have a flow for each bucket. Not super. And again, not that these are perfect scripts, but you just want to give them a track to run on. So number one, the whole system. Within that, the little systems are traffic. Who are they going to talk to? I'll let Jackson fill in that blank. 2, what are they going to say? And then 3 would be the technology. Like, how do they talk to them? How do they set up an appointment? Like, how do we actually logistically make all this happen? Mike Campion here. Do you ever listen to the podcast and go, this is great information. I just wish I could actually get it implemented. And I wish I could get some help. Well, we do that. If you would like either myself or my team's help actually coming up with a plan that's specialized to you and your business, because with these podcasts, obviously we have to be very general and we can only go 20 minutes at a time. If you'd like to jump on a call with myself or my team, go to growmycleaningcompany.com/talk. We'll jump on a call. There's no charge. And we'll help you get some absolute clarity around exactly what to do next and how to do it. The reason we don't charge for these calls is the plan that we come up with, people want help implementing that. If that's the case, we're happy to talk about it. And if it's not, that's okay too. We're happy to just help you come up with a plan. So if you want to translate the information you're learning here into an actual plan that can change your life, give us a ring, growmycleaningcompany.com/talk. Love to either myself or have one of our coaches walk you through and actually personalize the content you get here to where you're at with your business. Talk soon. So A, Jackson, let me know if those are the 3 buckets you see. B, if they're good, I'll just let you kind of give your feedback on each one of them.
Yeah. So first bucket, process.
First bucket would be, who are they going to talk to?
Who are they going to talk to? Yeah, traffic. How are you getting people in?
And in where? What are we talking about? Into like, where's this magic conversation happening?
Yeah. So really cool opportunity for service-based companies is messenger type opportunities through Facebook and Instagram specifically, because they're all one platform, right? Facebook owns Instagram, Instagram owns Facebook. It's in the world of Meta, and a lot of conversations can be had within there. A lot of bookings can be had within there. But how do you actually get the people to come to you? Well, we recommend and suggest you do it through messenger ads, because messenger ads are very low cost, low barrier to entry for people. You don't need to spend a lot to actually get people to reach out to you through them. And it generates a lot of volume for that low cost, because again, you're able to design an ad where you can have your offer, you can have your hook, you can explain their pain, you can have your creative go with it. And when they click on it, it starts that conversation. Then that conversation is started, your appointment setter can go ahead and take over. And that's basically the ecosystem. And the reason we like it so much is, I mean, I've always liked it, but the problem has been, can you reasonably follow up with those people in a timely manner? Because I'd recommend this, years ago to people, and it'd work really well. They'd get 20 plus leads in 3 days. And they go, well, I don't have any good quality. I'm like, well, you didn't even respond to this one, and now it's 3 days later. That person's probably
gone.
Yeah, they're on to
he's so bad quality. He bought from some guy 39 and a half hours ago, and now he's uninterested in talking to you no more.
Exactly. So it's, for the longest time, it's a really great source for leads, big or small markets. But if you don't have that system in place to follow up with them quickly, you're dumping money down the drain, which is not good. You don't want to do that.
But let me put it in perspective of its competitors, and you can tell me if that makes sense, and then we'll move on to like, okay, once you get these leads, how do you converse with them? So I really see, and this is online, right? Obviously offline, there's 1,000 ways. Online, there's more than this, but I'm trying to just put it into big buckets. Obviously we can't hit every, like, what about a Pinterest ad that you do? Like, we can't get all into that. So generally online, there's on a platter, the marketer is doing it for you. These look like Angie's List, Bark, to some degree, pay-per-click, certainly like local service ads, where you pay more, The competition's higher because they're reselling that same lead a bunch of times, but you don't have to really know anything. Like super easy, but you're typically competing with other people, right? They sell that same lead several times. That's why. So I say more expensive. They're not really more expensive. They're reasonably priced. Right, yeah. But say you pay $30 for the lead, but they sell it to 4 people. Well, now that's $120 for the lead. And you got to beat out those other 4. So you say things like these leads suck. And I'm not saying they do suck, but you have to have a process that understands that ecosystem. So the challenge is there. They sell it to everybody else. On the other end, which we really only kind of coach our back end people that we're going to be with little, because it takes a minute to get set up, is you building it all yourself. You do what Bark or someone else would do. You still can use Facebook or Meta or something like that, but you build a funnel, right? You do an interruptive ad, which is, hey, stop looking for kittens or your grandkids pictures or whatever you're on here for, and or why Trump sucks or is great, depending on who you are, and start looking at this thing. And maybe they do, maybe they don't. And then you're like, once they look at the ad, you're like, okay, now click and come to this other page. And then they go to that other page. And the other page is like, now take another ad. Like you really got to get the creative right. You got to get the audience right. You got to get the page right. You got to get the call to action. And then they're typically going to book on another page. Like it's certainly possible and doable. You make a lot of money at it, but you have to have some sophistication, and it can take 2 or 3 months to really get that thing cranking, and $1,000 or so. Like, you know what I'm saying? You got to put money into ad. It's complex. This is nicely in the middle, right? But the nice thing is when I get them to click that ad and come to my page, they're off Facebook. They're not selling that ad to nobody else. It's just me and that guy. So it can be a little more expensive, but it's just me. Like we are now having a conversation, which I kind of go towards. I would rather spend a little more to get Jackson to talk to me one-on-one than spend less to be one of the 4 people courting Jackson right now, all of this, like this very second. So this direct message one has kind of the best of both worlds in that they only sell it once. And not only are they to your website where you're like, I have to write the copy once and I don't know who they are and I just got to hope what I said is compelling. And that can be expensive to like, hey man, what's going on? Well, my current cleaning company, blah, blah, blah. Tell me about that. What do you need? Like, and we can just go back and forth, and they're cheap. So it's just like, they're cheap. You're the only one talking to them. They're high, whatever. The only downside is people don't have, either not willing to do it themselves or hire someone and train them to do the follow-up like Jackson says. So they miss this huge opportunity. So is that a fair landscape of what's going on online and where these guys fit in?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, so cool. And what would a lead, just so people have an idea, what would a lead cost to get that conversation going? Maybe it's a good lead, maybe it's a bad lead. Maybe you want exactly what I want. Maybe you don't even in my service area, but what would that cost for that conversation?
$2, $2.30, maybe.
Guys, that's $2-3 to have a conversation with someone. And again, not about the weather. They have some interesting. So say only 1 in 5 are any good. Now we're at $10 for a good lead.
It's cheaper than a Chick-fil-A meal.
Well, that's not saying much. Those things are getting expensive.
I know.
Use something cheap, dude. Okay, cool. So we got the traffic and how you would do that. And, obviously different subject for different day, how you write the ad and some of that, but it's much easier than the full funnel, right? Like, is that fair? Like you can,
it's night and day.
Okay. So you could Google, pay someone if you need it, get some help if you want, but you can Google how to do DM ads and probably be okay.
I'm just saying Grow My Cleaning Company has a really great 40-minute training video on how to set up DM ads from start to finish that I just put together. So yeah, it exists.
You email support at Grow My Cleaning Company, we'll get you that training. How about that? Okay. Cool. So now what do you say once you've got this conversation? Like, hey man, want to buy my crap? Like, that's probably not going to work. Talk to me.
Yeah. So that conversation, it is really, it's not a sales conversation usually off the bat. And if someone wants it to be, if the customer wants it to be a sales conversation right off the bat, they usually aren't a perfect fit. It is usually, hey, yeah, I saw your ad, man, I am really tired of cleaning my house all the time. It's like, oh yeah, it really sucks, doesn't it? It's having that personal conversation back and forth. And that appointment setter is, again, their skill set is not to just post conversation and sell. It is to connect with that person and to play off of what they're saying, their pain points and their understanding. So that conversation is a back and forth of understanding why they clicked the ad, what caused, like, honestly, you took action. Why is that? And then
you see what Jackson did. He said it's a back and forth and immediately asked like 4 questions. That's really what the appointment setter's job is. It's not to sell crap, it's ask questions and understand.
Yeah, exactly. Because then they'll be begging to set an appointment once you do that. You won't have to push them on an appointment, push them to schedule. It will be, man, yeah, you really get me. I think this is really going to change my life. Like, do I call you? Can I
Can we
set this
talk?
up? Like, what do we need to do to start this like tomorrow?
Let's just, again, married 15 years, but I still remember how things go. If I'm on a dating app, and I don't know, maybe everything's swiping now.
Yeah.
Let's say I'm on a dating app that's more than swiping, and we're going to have some sort of DM conversation, right? If I'm DMing this beautiful woman and I'm like, hey, let's go on our first date. Well, she's probably got a lot of jerks in her life trying to do that. When I go, hey, weird, you're a good looking girl. What are you doing on this place? I'm sure you got all the dates you want. And oh, what about your family? Do you got any brothers and sisters? How long you been dating? What's your da 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 da? If I ask a bunch of questions and get to know her, she go, this guy gets me. She'll probably go, man, should we just maybe meet for coffee sometime? Sure. So if I'm trying to like, let's have a date. She's going to get a little spooked. Be like, what's going on? This is a weird, even though she's on a dating site, but I'm like, just tell me about you. What's going on in your world? Like, I want to know. She's gonna be like, oh, this guy's sweet. He's the best listener ever. I'm just asking questions. So same thing here. Just ask questions. And the cool thing is this is an easy sale. Like, so and just to be clear, for residential, it is quick. These guys are not looking to date for 6 months. They're like, yeah, I want to get this taken care of today. Right. So they will probably come to you and be like, let's jump on a call. Or if you're going back and forth and it just gets complex and you're like, hey, why don't we just jump on a 5-minute call as opposed to, but whenever you jump on a call, it's to their benefit. They want that. You're not pushing them. They're like, yeah, I just want to get this taken care of. So it is going to be a very, very short sales cycle. For commercial, client might be worth, 30, 40, 50 grand a year. It might stay 5 or 10 years, but this conversation might take 6 months over DM, right? It's again, we're just building a relationship. We're just pinging. We're just checking in. So just to be clear, we're not going to be pressuring anybody, but the residential people are going to have an internal pressure of like, hey, you're nice to talk to online, but I just need to get my goddamn house clean. Can we just do that? And you'll be easy. Yeah, of course we can help you with that. And the commercial person might need a little more,
Nudging.
Conversation. Yeah. But either way, we're not going to try and like buy my crap right off the bat.
Yeah.
Last thing. So big thing is traffic with Facebook and Meta right now, probably for years to come. You can get ads pretty cheap through the direct message. What to say and how to say it is just ask questions, figure out and be a human and try and help them. And if the most helpful thing is let's just jump on a 5-minute call and see if I can get you sorted, then do that, but just do it for their benefit. Last piece is just the technology. Is there a way I just do it on Messenger and have like a bunch of tabs? Like walk me through that. And then how do I, like, I guess if you're the owner, you could just book your own call and sort it out. If you're going to give this to an employee or a contractor, you'd have to have some sort of mechanism. Cover that best you can in the couple minutes we got.
Yeah. Yeah. So if you're, yeah, like Mike said, if you're the owner, you can do it all within the system. You can book it on your own calendar. You have these communications just directly through Facebook Messenger. It has this giant inbox that looks like email and everything flows in and out and you can just bounce between conversations as they come in. You can filter them. You can do all that kind of stuff. If you hire
we use ManyChat. Is that if
we use ManyChat,
or is that overkill for our client? Our listeners?
If for clients just starting out, it's usually overkill. We use it because we're doing it on a much higher scale.
Forget about ManyChat. Just use Facebook Messenger.
Use the Facebook Messenger. It's great. You can filter.
You get them on your phone too, right?
Yeah, you can do it on your phone. And if you do hire that online appointment setter, you can integrate them in without like creating a second profile or anything like that. You just bring them in, and there's literally a role called leads and messages, and that's their roles to just handle those leads and messages. So it's super, super straightforward, super easy, super consolidated.
All right, beautiful. Well, let me just kind of put a bow on everything we talked about. Thing one, guys, gals, if you really want to grow, you want to have 3 or 4 or 5 different lead sources, whether you're residential or commercial. So please don't, as excited as I am, and our clients are getting some really good results with this, it's a great one of many, right? Very few things are the great one of one, right? So the wrong answer in marketing is 1. That's the foundation. 2, I love anytime you can just talk with a client. That's the hardest thing about writing copy. Like write a website. You don't know anything about this person other than they clicked on your ad, and compel them to take action with words that you wrote 6 months ago without knowing who this person is. Like you can do it as a marketer, but boy, oh boy, can that be expensive and difficult. when I can just ask the guy, what made you reach out? Why today? Why is that frustrating? What are you hoping to accomplish? Like, it's the easiest job in the goddamn world. And you're like, yeah, but those are gonna be super expensive. Paradoxically, they're not. So the cool thing is, it's just the only, you're like, well, what's the catch? The catch is it's a pain in the butt to be on Messenger all the time. And again, when I say all the time, it might be 29 seconds to 400 seconds per hour, but every hour kind of gets to be a pain in the butt. That's why you can hire someone, create a system. So again, I would encourage, if you're looking for a lead source that's scalable, that's cheap, this is a great one to go. And it's not easy. There's some work, but you can turn it over to somebody else. Like for us and our clients, we might have one rep have 4 or 5 different clients. So reach out to us if you want help with this. But if you want to hire your own person, you might even find someone's like does this for 3 or 4 other companies. You know what I'm saying? Like, you can still kind of use our model. I think we talked about, you might need 2,000 or 3,000 in spend per month to be able to hire someone full time, like where they would be like, hey, this is a full time gig. So that's a good overview. And like I always say, if you guys are getting the results that you want, keep doing what you're doing. If you're not getting the results that you want, don't keep doing the same thing and hope for different results. If you need more specifics on this, feel free to reach out. We'll do everything we can to help. Appreciate your time and attention. We'll talk soon. See you. Hey, Cleaning Nation, if you dug the content you just got, we don't do any ads and I don't sell anything on this podcast, but if you would just subscribe, rate, and review, it would be huge, and I'd be so appreciative. Not only is it going to help me, but you'll help other owners of cleaning companies across the world work less, make more, and get profitable. So if you appreciate the value we give, again, subscribe, rate, and review. It'd mean the world to me. I'd really appreciate it, and we sure appreciate your time and attention.